Stephen here at Bland Designs, and recently I did a review video of my new toy, my Cricut Explore Air, and I had a question come up after that video was put up, asking how do you go about cutting out a rubber stamp? In particular, this one person wanted to know how to cut out a gorgeous stamp because there aren't any dies for it. So you can usually, well, not usually, with some stamps you can get a coordinating die, and so you stamp your image, then you put the die on top and you can cut it out. Well, these particular rubber stamps do not have dies for them. So this person wants to know how to do it with your Cricut, and the Cricut works brilliantly for this. So I'm going to take you through the process and show you how this works. So what I did first of all was just stamp this image, and then I colored it in with my pencil crayons and some Gamsol. And when I had that completed, I took it to my printer and I scanned the image into my computer. And then from there, I'm going to show you how I get it into the format that the Cricut can cut. So now that we have scanned in the image into our computer, now we're going to load it into the design space. So we go to design space and we look for upload image, and we'll see this browser box come up. Hit browse, find our image, click on it, open it, and it appears on the screen. Now there are different settings at this point: simple, moderate, and complex. I'm using the complex because there's a lot of detail in this rubber stamp. So click on it and go down to the side and say continue. Now you have a blown up image on your screen. You can reduce that by going to the top of the screen and clicking on the magnifying glass, the minus sign. Now we're going to edit it. We're going to get rid of background space, because if we don't, it's going to print out as a rectangle. So we're selecting the magic wand tool and just clicking on the background and clicking any other spot we do not want in our cut. When we're finished, we go to the bottom of the screen, click continue, and you'll see the image here, and it'll go ahead and it's doing its processing of this. Once it's finished the processing, down in the bottom right hand part of the screen you will see a new command. It'll come up to this screen and show you all the images you have. Pick the one you just did and it puts it onto the design space. Now you can manipulate it like any other graphic. You can resize it. That's what I'm doing here. And once I have it where I want it, then I go up to the go button and I click on go. And this is going to take me to the screen where we're going to be able to print this out first and then cut it. So the image comes up on the screen and we click on OK, and now we have the print. So we click on print, and this ties into your printer, and everybody's printer is a little different. And all I'm doing here is I'm selecting some preferences to make a higher quality print, and away it's gone off to my printer. So this is what the image looks like once it's been printed out. You notice I made it a little bit bigger than the stamp itself, but that's the beauty of the Cricut. You can alter this to whatever size you want. And if you look very closely, you're going to see a blurred line that runs around the whole image. That's called a bleed line. This helps the machine cut this out more accurately. Don't worry about that. That will be cut away once the machine does its thing. Now the other thing you'll notice are these three little marks. These are called registration lines that are printed by your printer once it's gone through the Cricut. These are important because this is how the machine knows where to cut on this image. I'm not really sure about the technology behind it, how that works, but it does work. So all you have to do at this point then is make sure you've got your mat out, and you'll just stick it down like you do for any other kind of cutting project. And I'm going to take this over to my machine and let you see the process from there. Okay, so now I have my image loaded on my mat and loaded into my machine, and you'll notice that the go button is flashing. So all I do is I hit that. Now I'm sorry about the instability of this shot because I'm shooting this now with my cell phone. So here we go. So I'm going to let you watch this. It takes it a little bit of time to do this. But I want you to see what it's doing right now. See, it's reading that first registration line that I mentioned before, and The very first one takes a little longer than the other two to read, but basically this is telling the machine where to cut. First few times I did this, I found it kind of fascinating to watch it actually cut the image out. I'm not going to allow this to go for the whole time. It takes it a couple of minutes, but I'm just letting you see how it reads the registration marks to start off with. And then once it starts cutting, I'm just going to pause the video and move on to the next step. And so now it'll go up to the top. It takes a minute to figure out what it's doing. And it's going to move to the top of the screen. Okay, there's a little delay there because I had paused the program, but now you can see that it's going around and it's cutting out the image. So once it's finished this, I'll come back and show you the end result. So now the image has been cut. All we have to do is remove it from our mat. And there you have it. Our image is all cut out. Now you might have a few little jaggy bits around the edges which are easy to clean up with a pair of scissors. And you will notice, if I bring it up close, that there's some of the white background is still in here because I didn't identify those to take it out on that other step like I did down here. And if that bothers you, you can go back in, reload it up, and make sure you get rid of those little bits. It will depend. But it does a really good job. So you've got rubber stamps, you want to cut them out, but you don't want to do the fussy cutting. Use the Cricut. It does a brilliant job on this. Thanks for watching.